All right, let's welcome to the program Terry Ray, the head coach of the Washington Patriots. Coach Ray, your team coming off of a nice win on Friday night over Hedgesville, 42-7. What did you take away from the game?
That we finished strong. We started pretty strong. We had a little bit of a lull there in the middle of the game, but I thought we did really well and finished the game strong. It was a pretty tight game going into the fourth quarter, and then we finally were able to pull away.
It's a big win for your team, first in over 2 years against a EPAC school. Just tell us a little bit about how much that means to the program.
We talked about it a little bit last week to the team that it's been 2 years since we won an EPAC game. The kids were excited. It's a good start. It's a good stepping stone for us, especially after being in year two. Last year we didn't win one. This year we've got that monkey off our back. Now we're moving on to the next EPAC game.
Who were some of the standouts for you in the win?
Tavon Jones and Alan Casey, both on offense running the ball. They really stood out. My wide receiving crew we have here, that those guys, they can be real selfish, but they're really not. They knew the run game was kicking, so you don't hear a whole lot. Their stats aren't the greatest from that game, but they understood our run game was working, and we just used it. The defense, again, stands out good. A couple mental mistakes here and there. We gave up a few plays, but other than that, overall, I was really happy.
Any other things that really stood out to you in the game to be a difference maker?
Josh Smith, our kicker, hurt his hip against John Marshall, so Kojo took over the kicking duties again. Isaiah, and he had like 3 touchbacks. He was perfect for extra points, so that was a surprising big thing. And knowing that Josh may not be not be there this week, that Kojo could step in and still handle the kicking duties.
Coach, heading into your game this week against Spring Mills, one of the things that Coach Law said stood out about your team was he feels like your team's a lot more physical this year. Would you agree with that statement? And how much do you think that showed against Hedgesville, since they're usually a physical football team that wants to run the ball down your throat?
We are physical this year. I wish we were a little bit more physical. We stood up. We knew Hedgesville's a physical football team. They beat us up last year. We played with them for a quarter, and then they beat us up in the second half. I tell our kids, and we tell our kids every week, that we have to be physical, and certain teams we're playing are going to be physical. Sometimes being in the weight room and doing what we need to do in the off season and instilling the fact that we need to play physical football has helped us out this year, and we just continue doing the same.
You guys get to take on Spring Mills this weekend, a team that has played really well, has not allowed anyone to score on them so far, but it's your guys' turn to go up and try to make that task a successful one. What does your team need to do to compete and potentially beat Spring Mills?
We keep playing football. We've been playing football. We need to limit our mistakes, need to limit penalties, which we did last week. We had a few, but not as many. We need to be really protective of the ball. We need to try to win the turnover ratio. They're a good football team, offensively, defensively, and special teams. Coach Law and Coach Henson have done an amazing job over there. We're going to have to show up and play football. We're going to have to take it series by series, snap by snap, play by play.
What have you seen from Spring Mills so far on film?
They defensively, they're real physical. Offensively, they have the big play capability. They have a solid run game, and Max Anderson and his brother and the other group of wide receivers they have can beat you deep at any time. But we told the kids all week, we sat and filmed, we've been studying. We have to communicate on defense, fly around the football like we have been. Offensively, we need to protect the football and make sure we're calling out blitz calls on our offensive line. And special teams, I think, are going to be real big this week. We need to be solid.
Pulling up last year's game, it was a 46-0 loss. What do you remember from last year in that game that you're hoping does not happen this year?
We had a lot of turnovers in that game. If I ain't mistaken, I think we had 2 pick sixes. first quarter we were doing all right, and then we had a pick six, and then the dam broke open, and I called it the Murphy's Law game. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. But we definitely have to limit turnovers. That was big last year in the game.
And, Coach, this is obviously a pretty big matchup for your team and for EPAC standings, for playoff standings. So what would a win mean for your program?
It would be a great thing for our program. We take it week by week. Every game to us is a big game. But playing Spring Mills, we haven't beat them since like 2015 or something like that. I think we've only won one game in the series. That's been brought up several different times.
That's what I was going to actually bring up. 2013, by the way.
Okay, it was 2013. Listen, second week of EPAC schedule for us. We're trying to have a winning record in EPAC. That's where we're looking at it. We're taking it a week at a time. If we go out and execute and play well and do what we're supposed to, and we come out on the winning end, we're going to be excited. But it's just another game to us. It's the next week, next cog in the wheel.
You brought it up. I was going to bring it up. It has been a 9-game losing streak against Spring Mills. You've only beaten them one time, but so far this year you guys have been able to overcome odds like that, as we talked about a few weeks ago. You guys were able to end the home losing streak. That was 5 games. You just finally got your first EPAC win in over 2 years as well. So trends are breaking at Washington. How do you make sure that your team stays believing in itself? Because, as we said, Spring Mill's a tough opponent this week, and you look next week as well. It's Martinsburg. So the question really just is, how do you make sure your team stays positive and believes in themselves?
Told the kids, we got to line up one play at a time. If we can win one play at a time, each rep, good things can happen. That's why we play the football game. We got to go out there and play 4 quarters of football the best way we can and continue doing what we're doing.
And Colin mentions the breaking of the trends. What do you kind of credit that to for your team this year? As obviously it's been kind of already a historic season for Washington in terms of the 4-1 start, and you still have a lot of goals, I'm sure, on your mind, but your team's already done a lot of great things so far this season. So what do you kind of credit that to, Coach?
We had a solid offseason. I think I told you guys this before a few weeks back. This offseason, the majority of our team committed to the weight room, committed to one common goal. Our seniors this year have stepped up big and are with their leadership and have taken the reins. And we just going to keep plugging away each week. Our kids are going to keep believing. We believe we could play with anybody in the state. We just got to show up, play.
All right, Coach Ray, anything else? If not, we'll get to the fun question.
Nope, we're good.
All right, fun question this week is, do you have any pregame rituals that you have to make sure that you do, or any superstitions that you've been kind of finding yourself into here this year?
I've had a lot of superstitions, and it usually goes like how the season goes. But with this year, one of my student managers comes in every day on Fridays at 5:35 and fist bumps me because she fist bumped me at the beginning of the season. I always have to drink a Coke before I go out and pregame too.
All right, Coach Ray, thank you for the time. Best of luck Friday.
Appreciate it.
Coach Terry Ray of the Washington Patriots joining us here on the program. We'll take a break, and then we'll have more of the Sports Mix after this on Talk Radio WRNR and TV 10.
This segment brought to you by Parsons Ford of Martinsburg at 1400 Shepherdstown Road and online at parsonsford.com. They became number one by making you number one first. Parsons.